Before a student can receive financial aid, the student must ask for aid. This means filling out forms. In this lesson, we will focus on the two most common forms, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, or FAFSA, and the College Scholarship Service Profile, or CSS Profile. While some schools will only use the FAFSA, there are a number of schools that use a combination of both, so let's look at each form. The FAFSA is a form that is used to determine federal or governmental financial aid eligibility. The FAFSA is available online. The student and one parent create accounts online and use their own information to fill out the form. The FAFSA uses wages, assets, and other information in its calculations. After filling out the FAFSA, a student learns their eligibility for government grants, loans, and work study. The student will also learn how much the federal government believes the family should contribute to their education. This is called a family's estimated family contribution, or EFC. Some of the information the FAFSA asks for is income, annual gross income, assets including savings, college savings plans, investment, property, and more, the worth of a farm or business if over 100 employees, total taxes paid, and it also asks for student income and assets, not just parent. The FAFSA doesn't ask for home equity, retirement savings, business information for family-owned businesses with fewer than 100 employees, as well as non-custodial parent information. The CSS Profile is a form that is used to determine institutional financial aid, or aid provided directly from the college. It is most often used by colleges and universities that provide a significant amount of need-based aid and dives deep into a family's finances. The CSS Profile will require more information than the FAFSA, and questions might differ based on the college or university because each college weighs a family's financial situation differently. Like the FAFSA, the CSS Profile requires income, assets, savings and investments, and student income and savings. However, there are some major differences between the FAFSA and the CSS Profile. The FAFSA and the CSS Profile have different calculations if a student's parents are divorced. The FAFSA only looks at the contributions of one parent, the custodial parent. CSS Profile colleges will look at the contribution ability of both parents. The FAFSA and the CSS Profile require different information on business ownership. The FAFSA only requires business information if a student or family-owned business has more than 100 employees. However, the CSS Profile would require business information regardless of the number of employees. Some colleges might even ask for a business and farm supplemental form for more details. The FAFSA and CSS Profile look differently at home equity. While the FAFSA does not utilize home equity, many, but not all colleges that use the CSS Profile take home equity into consideration when determining aid. Each uses a different calculation when adding in equity to the financial aid formula. Some colleges don't count equity at all, while others consider equity fair game when deciding how much financial aid to provide a student. The FAFSA and the CSS Profile also differ in the specific information they request. The CSS Profile asks for information on unusual expenses, such as medical expenses or elder care, and includes a section for the student to explain a financial situation not included in the form. This may or not be considered in the financial aid calculation. It does depend on the school, so you can see that the CSS Profile is a much more complex form and is used differently by each college or university. There might be other differences between the FAFSA and the CSS Profile that are beyond the scope of this course, but it never hurts to call the financial aid office with any questions you might have, or talk to a financial planner. Oh, and one more thing, the FAFSA is free. The CSS Profile requires a filing fee. The FAFSA and CSS Profile both open on October 1st. The deadline for filling out each form is dependent on the school the student would like to attend and their deadlines. Some colleges will also only offer financial aid while there is funding available. For these colleges, earlier is better. It is important to note that the income that is used for both the FAFSA and the CSS Profile is from the tax year 2 years prior to the start of a student's fall semester. It is often referred to as the prior year. This means that for a student who will start college in 2021, the FAFSA and CSS Profile will require family and student income from the 2019 tax year. So, these are the two basic forms. Almost all colleges require the FAFSA for federal and state financial aid, and many will also require the form for scholarships and loans. Only some will require the CSS Profile, and the colleges that require the Profile tend to give out the most need-based aid. The forms may seem daunting, but are well worth the effort.